Teen Wolf. This retrospective is really moving along. Um, I, I didn't really. This is the first one of 1985 that I'll be doing, and I never thought I'd be 12. I'd make it 12 years. I thought I'd quit way before now. Watching 10 to almost 20 movies a year. It's taken almost 5 years to get this far, actually, in real time. But this is moving into the 12th year now of the retrospective. It's over 100 and I've watched in the past 5 years, I guess 120 something movies. It's actually more like 140. It's been a lot. Um, and there's been some, diamonds in the rough, and there's been some that were just as bad as I thought they were going to be. And Teen Wolf, listen, here's the thing with Teen Wolf. If you don't know anything about it, if you don't know what it is, you don't know who stars in it, you know nothing about Teen Wolf, think about the title, Teen Wolf. The amazing thing about Teen Wolf is that it is almost exactly probably what you can imagine. Teenagers, okay? So a teen, probably someone in high school, who is a wolf, which is what? A werewolf? Yeah. And as I describe the story a little bit, I want to be careful because in my own mind, I've tried to ask myself, how would I describe this to someone? And you might be tempted to think that this movie's so bad it's good. I want to say from the get-go, in case you just kind of want a quick review of this and want to move on. I, the movie's not half bad. I give it 2 out of 5 stars. It is not the worst thing I've ever seen. Unfortunately, it has a problem. It just teeters between being. It never goes full camp. It don't get me wrong. It never takes itself too serious. There's no dramatic moments or statements being made. It's not a comment. It's not like Metamorphosis or anything like that. But it it is at least it at least understands that it's a joke. Okay, it at least understands that much. So I want to say that. Now, with that said, I don't want you thinking that when you hear this description that it's so bad it's good. That's not quite where. If it was so bad it was good, I'd give it 4 stars because I love movies that are so bad they're good. Phantasm, as an example, I brought up several times. 5 stars. Awful movie. Can't wait to watch it again. Um, this isn't that kind of. This is not. I consider a 1 star a bad movie. Okay, 2 stars I would consider an okay movie. Then 3 we're getting into good. 4 we're getting into great, and then 5 into superb like movies. I'm going to consider for my top 10 and watch over and over and over. Um, this is a movie that if I went to someone's house for the weekend, with not much to do, their computer was down. And they just were watching Teen Wolf, I'd sit and watch it with them and be fine. And if you have people that you like to sit with and make fun of movies, this might not be half bad for that. Okay, so I want to get into the description of what Teen Wolf is about. It is about a teenager that's playing on a basketball team in high school that's so bad that when it's revealed in publicly, which is this is the best scene in the movie, that he's a werewolf right on the court. And this was in the commercials for the movie. And young people at work I've talked to about this film, they remember these commercials. It's crazy. I don't know how. Um, and he becomes a werewolf right on the court. He makes the team better at basketball. And as a result, he's openly embraced by the community because he makes their basketball team better. If you were to describe a movie like that to me, I'd be like, well, this has got to be good. I mean, this has got to be worth watching. It's not quite there. I've talked about 80s fascinations. I've talked about one video where 80s had just fascination with midgets, just midgets everywhere. And just think about that. Look back at like Star Wars, even. I mean, just and you don't see as much of that anymore, but that was a big deal in the 80s. There is another thing in 80s, which is the smart aleck. Is sometimes when it's done right, it can be funny. Ski School, I remember, I haven't seen that in years. It's just about a bunch of smart alecks. That would be a really good example of characters, the 80s fascination with characters that are smart alecks. The smart aleck in this movie is so basic. He's just not funny at all. And I did some reading and found after I watched it, just to say, did this movie influence anyone? I was trying to figure out whether it was a hit or not. It was a hit because it came out after, it was Michael J. Fox, who's a legitimate star in my opinion. I really like Michael J. Fox. After this came out on the heels of Back to the Future. In fact, they waited until after they waited till after Back to the Future to put this out, and which was a really smart idea, and that did make it a hit. And it just shows that he had star power at that time, and he still would if he didn't have the disease he's struggling with. But I've said on several occasions, at least to myself, that Michael J. Fox is one of those people from my generation that I'm proud was a star. I think that he's a good. Not everybody has stars in their generation that they're really so excited to say this was a star of my generation. He was, and I'm proud of that. I like it that he's a person you could look at from the 80s that was a good actor from the 80s that was a legit and should have been a legit star. He was more of a television star, but for a while he was in movies. Okay, anyway. So I asked people at work, I said, okay, I want to see how close or how off people at work, especially younger people in their early 20s, maybe 30s, how close they would get if I said, what do you think this movie's about? And they didn't do half bad because I'm thinking Teen Wolf, right? Teen Wolf. How hard could it be to come up with what this is about? Generally, they did pretty good. And I learned something. One guy said this. He said, yeah, I mean, he mentioned Twilight. And I was just like, that never occurred to me that Twilight would influence the way you would think about something like this. I'm going to tell you, I've never seen Twilight, but if you're expecting Twilight from Teen Wolf, you'd be very disappointed. Because from what I can tell, Twilight's a drama, I guess, and this is far from a drama. It's barely even a comedy. It's comedy by 80s standards, but it's not even really that. Look, I'll wrap this up here. Video's already longer than I meant for it to be. I can't recommend, even though I give it 2 stars, I don't recommend this if you're picky about movies. If you want a great movie, that's not what this is. And there's so many movies to pick from. Probably not the movie to watch. But if you can watch it for free, or if a friend of yours wants to watch it with you or something like that, you'll have a good time. It's really not that bad of a movie. It's just, but if I'm going to say, yes or no, I'm going to say no. There's too many other good movies worth your time to watch. But Teen Wolf. All right. Watch your own risk.